Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy guide, and this is going to actually be my first redo of a Platinum Trophy guide, and that is going to be for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. I'd gotten some comments stating how the guide wasn't that great, or how it wasn't very new friendly to people who are new to the genre of Metroidvanias, so I figured I would just restart the whole guide and try and make it a lot easier. Now, depending on things, I might just do a full live stream walkthrough as well as a video walkthrough in case you want to see just how it goes without getting edited. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is show you guys the full map in case you want to see it now and save it, take pictures, or do whatever you want with it. It is entirely up to you. I'll try and zoom in on certain areas so you can see where there's secret rooms at as well. So we're just going to start off here in the Galleon Minerva. As you can see, here it is. And then we're going to head over to the main area. And then I'm going to try and zoom out just a little bit and get the bottom half of the map. As you can see right here, it is kind of a big map, as you'll see. Try and get that bottom half for you right there, and then just kind of move it up to the top. And then we're also going to come all the way over here, like so, as you'll see. And that is the rest of the map. Pretty easy, as you can see. But now I'm going to, like I said in the original, I'm going to do this from a brand new save. As you can tell, this is on a New Game Plus character. So I'm going to back out and quickly jump back in so you guys can see how it starts out. Alright, so after starting, you will pick up some equipment and defeat your first enemy, and you will get your first trophy for acquiring your first shard of the game. Now, while you were also in the tutorial area, you're going to want to just backstep a lot, and also make sure while you're playing the game to just break a lot of the candles. But just doing that will help out working on 2 trophies in the time being. As you'll see, you'll go through the area. It's pretty easy so far in the tutorial, but depending on where you want to do it, just simply backstep as much as you want until you get the trophy for just backstepping, of course. And then I'm going to actually go through a bit of the area and then move on until I find a secret room. Of course, I will show you guys how to progress through the area as to not, you know, just leave you guys hanging. But yeah. Alright, so from here, you're just going to follow the path that I take. You'll have this door that you'll need to use your right joystick to open. Coming out here onto the main deck, you'll have a new enemy type that you'll find right here, the Alo. This enemy I'd highly recommend would farm for their shard. Do note that all of the enemies respawn when you exit rooms and re-enter them, so if you're worried about not being high enough leveled, don't worry, you can always respawn enemies. But anyways, if you come back up here, up to this area here, in this chest you will find the country dress, some new armor to give you more defense. Like I said, in this first area it's best to try and just work on the backstepping trophy. Do note that some enemies have certain items that they are guaranteed to drop or have a rare chance to drop. Over here you'll find another enemy, the Dola Hammer. If you farm the Gale Crawler shards from the Alo, it takes 2 of these to take out the Dola Hammer. Pretty easy to obtain as it's very early on. Now coming down here, you'll have this area off here to our right. This will contain your first save room as well as a bookcase and a chest. All of the bookcases will give you certain techniques that you can use. But anyways, if we drop down here all the way down, it'll make life a little easier. We'll just ignore that enemy for now. But coming over here, you'll find your first secret room. This will also get you a trophy. Coming in here, you'll get 1,000 gold and a permanent increase to your magic, which is also nice. like I said, while you're here, in here you'll find a new weapon, the gun. But now we can head back up. Depending on things, you might want to first, I don't know why I said it like that, come all the way over here to the end. And like I said, while you're also at it, break as many of the candles as you can. It'll get you money that you'll probably eventually need. And also be working on that trophy, like I said. Now coming down and to the left here, you'll find a new enemy type, the Cannon Mort. This will give you this new shard to use for your R2 instead of your triangle, which you'll need to use to light the candle. Now, depending on things, like I said, you can always go back and farm enemies that you need to, and things like that. Now, coming over here, when you first drop down, you'll find your next secret wall, which will give you another MP increase. And do note that if you don't like the weapons that I use or the shards that I use, you don't have to use them. You can use whatever fits your playstyle and whatever is comfortable to you. Now, do note if you are getting stuck in certain areas, like I said, you can always farm areas earlier in the game, of course. But coming down here into this big room here, we come over here. In this chest, you'll actually find the map for the Galleon Minerva, which will make life a little easier. As you can see, like I said, all enemies have a certain pool of items that they drop. So depending on things, farming enemies will help you out in the long run, because sometimes those items are used for crafting. Weapons, armor, anything really in the game. But continuing on now through this area, follow this path around. In that chest up there is the short sword item right here. A upgrade to your current 2 weapons that you have. Coming into here, you'll have your second save room just to our right. Continuing on here. In this room here is where you'll find a chest that you'll have to wait to come back for, simply because you do not have the means of reaching it without exploits. Like I said, if you also want to farm the Dola Hammer, he also drops a shard and a bunch of other items. In this room here, you'll find another new enemy, the Ghost. Pretty easy stuff. Starting out, the game isn't too challenging, but eventually it does ramp up. In this room, you'll have that hole get broken in and 3 enemies will get shot inside. And just over here, you'll find your third secret room with the safe ring. Pretty much what the safe ring does is it basically reduces your attack, but greatly increases your defense, which is not that great. But in here we'll have 3 seeds found in this chest. Now do note, if you leave the Galleon Minerva and then come back, you can actually get to those 3 seeds again. Pretty easy. Here you'll have a shortcut back to a previous area in case you want to save. But now we're going to continue on up. Here you'll have a small puzzle to solve, pretty easy. Try not to block the door down. Don't want to, you know, make it hard on yourself. Here in this area you'll have a couple of things. You can come off over here to the left and find some money. For now, we'll wait to go up as we need to have a double jump to make it, or a high jump. So coming into here, now anytime you find a door like this one off to our right, that's going to let you know that there is a boss on the other side. So just keep that in mind, and for now what you'll do is you'll want to just come down here, grab some money, and then following this path will lead you to the next save room of the game. I highly recommend making a save right here. Alright, so from here we can take on the first boss of the game officially. Now, of course, I'm going to be skipping cutscenes just to avoid any story-related stuff for you guys. Alright, so here we have the first boss of the game. Basically, there is a couple of attacks that it likes to go for. One is this one where it spits out this ooze. Another one is it likes to slam its tentacle down. This one is pretty simple. What she'll do is she'll just breathe a water jet to jump over. Then she'll go right back to the front of the boat right here. Eventually she'll also start spitting out enemies at you. Now, depending on where she puts the tentacle is where you'll be determined to where you'll jump. But for the most part, you can spend most of the fight right in front of her. Whenever she spawns in, it's best just to come back here and deal with them. For this phase, you do have to actually jump and attack the face. You can't do any damage anywhere else. But it is a pretty easy fight overall. Once again, back to the front. And then we're going to finish it off with a cannon attack. And that will be the first boss done. Pretty easy. That will get you probably your third or fourth trophy of the game. Depending on things, of course. Like I said, it just depends on how many backsteps you do. But that will be the intro of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. We're not done though with this first episode just yet. Now from here we're going to move on to the main hub area of the game, Arvantville. And I'm also going to go over a couple of things to talk about while here. Here you'll have a new enemy type, the rats. You can also farm them for some items, and you'll also have a bone mort. These enemies will simply throw bones at you, and as you'll see right here, we got a new shard, the bone toss. Not really that great of an item, so you're probably not really going to use it all that much. Here you have a small cutscene. There'll be some words and dialogue. Obviously skipping, of course, for the sake of it. Here you'll have this kind of forced cutscene dialogue to talk about. Now coming off here to the right, you'll have your alchemist station with Johannes. This will allow you to craft and create items. As you can see right here, you can make potions, you can make whatever you want to make. What I would highly recommend making is the Nodachi.
I'll go with this.
But like I said, if you don't want to do that, you can make whatever weapon you want. It's, like I said, this game is it's fully up to you what you would like to do, you know. Now as well, I also would highly recommend just waiting for a moment to make anything else. Just crafting a new weapon is probably the best thing to do. Now every weapon has a certain attack and thing that it can do, as you can see right there. As you'll see, it's in techniques. right there. You can learn all of the techniques without actually having to read the documents to find them. Here you also have your first save room, as you'll see. Now there is a very specific reason why I'm mentioning that right now, and I'll show you in just a moment. But here off to our left is where we'll have a shop section, as you'll see. You can buy anything that you might need. As you can see, some things are pretty expensive. You can also go by section, of course, for baking. Got certain things for alchemy, keys, weapons, you know, all that stuff. Just keep that in mind. Pretty straightforward, like I said. Some things you can just directly buy instead of having to make, which I would highly recommend just buying and equipping a Chemis. I assume I'm saying that right. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's entirely up to you. You can also sell things as well. You'll get the village key while you're here. And then, as well, you'll be able to teleport back to this area. Now you can finally leave. Now the best way that I like to work on leveling up the technique, as you'll see right there. Do note it does cost MP, so do keep that in mind. But the best thing to do is to... well, I'll show you a better area in just a moment to do that. But anyways, here if you actually come up to this little area right here, you'll find a capacity upgrade for your melee weapons, and then you'll find a teleport area. You can't use it just yet, so don't worry about it. As you'll see, while we're staying up here, coming up here, you'll find that if you jump up over here and then you fall down, you'll find some elf ears, and then you'll find this hidden little area that you can drop down to. And then you'll find a secret room right here. Pretty easy. Never know, you'll get a 8-bit coin. For now, we'll ignore the area off to our right. Here you can also open up the door to make it easier for you as well. And you'll have this little rest area, a new entry type, as you'll see. Like I said, reading the bookcases will give you these new techniques for weapons as well. Now here you'll finally have the castle entrance. Pretty long entrance, if I do say so myself. You'll need to activate the switch to enter, of course. Like I said, we'll ignore that down area for now. And then we'll finally be at the entrance of the castle. Now here in this room, or the next couple rooms, basically what you'll do is, like I said, I like to use the D-pad. You'll hit left, or you'll hit right on the D-pad twice, and then square to block, and we'll activate the technique. Depending on it, you might be able to get it off multiple times in a row. It just depends on how comfortable you are. As you can see, depending on things, it's a lot easier. It's especially easy to do with the bats, like so, instead of using the mort. Now, the main reason why we're doing this is simply because you're trying to master the technique. Now, you just have to do this to one technique, and I find the katana to be the easiest to do it on. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. And once you do that, that will also get you a trophy. Now from here we're going to move on and go to the next couple of areas and fight the second boss of the game. So from here we're just going to continue on. Here you'll have a new enemy, Stabnock. Now you can farm him for a new upgrade to your sword damage. Up here you'll find some iron and cotton. That chest has random items that it's guaranteed to give you that are from the area and the enemies. Now from here we're just going to drop down here and we'll find another chest that we can grab. Do note another trophy you should also be working on is just opening 100 chests. It's going to come with time, of course. As you'll see though, going through the early areas, it's not too difficult. Here into the next big room is where you'll find this oddly suspicious pool of blood. Don't worry about it. Coming over here you'll find your next save point of the area right in this room. It's better just to grab it now instead of doing all this jumping and then ending up back down. From here we're just going to come on up. Here you'll find an upgrade once again to your pistol ammo capacity. And then coming over here you'll find a new enemy, the Blood Knight Grinder. Pretty easy dude to deal with. Another archive to collect. Dropping down here, you'll then want to head up here. Here you'll have a cutscene. But going through this area, we're just going to continue on up. Here you'll have another Stabnock. If you really want to farm him, this would be a good spot to do it. Makes it pretty easy. Now we're going to take a small detour through the Garden of Silence. As you see right here. Here you'll find some new enemies. As you'll see. This will also be a new area to start farming for more XP, so your level will be higher. And some items depending, of course. Now from here, actually you want to drop down here real quickly. Obtain a shard while we're at it. In this chest right here is a new crafting equipment that you'll obtain from different armor, weapons, things like that. And then we can now be on our way. So from here you're basically just going to keep jumping up. Here in this room is where you'll find the weapon I'm using, the Morgenstern. Once again, obtaining more shards. Like I said, these are random drops from the enemies who do drop them. So depending on things, you might need to farm some enemies more than others just to even get their shard. Other times you'll get it on the first kill that you have of the enemy. It's very just RNG dependent, so do keep that in mind. But while we're here, we're going to just go up. Another bookcase to read. And here you'll have this very weird red moon room. Don't worry about it for now, we will come back to it. Like I said, when you make it to a new area, you will also be able to get more XP. so your level will get higher. Right here, if you actually drop down real quickly, you'll find an HP up, which is pretty cool. Here we can enter another good room that you can try and use to farm for XP and items. As you'll see, the Gale Wind does a bunch of damage and can hit multiple enemies, so like I said, farming that on the Galleon Minerva is pretty helpful. Now we will re-enter the entrance of the castle. Following this path I take will pretty much lead you directly to the second boss. But before doing so... Okay. Now if you come up here, you'll find the Barbados. Basically, I highly recommend farming him to get his shard as well as leveling it up. I will show that off in just a second here. Here's your next save room. But basically, his shard early on and when leveled up to a certain degree will help deal a bunch of burst damage to most of the bosses early on. And also, the item needed to upgrade it is also dropped from him. Like I said, as you'll see, farming him can be kind of hit or miss, like most enemies, on whether they want to give you the shard or not. Luckily, it's close to a save point, so it's not like it's too bad, of course. But I'm probably going to skip to getting it and then showing it off as well as upgrading it. Alright, as you can see, once you obtain it, it's called the True Arrow. What you'll do is you'll need to equip it, of course, to the, instead of the Flame Cannon, it'll be the True Arrow. Now you can also favorite it so you'll remember what it is. And here's what it looks like. You'll fire 3 arrows, cost roughly 30 MP. Now the best thing about it is when you upgrade it, you'll start firing more arrows and the spread of the arrows will be kind of tightened. That way you won't miss as many. Now to upgrade anything as well, you will need to simply just head back to Johannes. As you'll see, just like that, pretty easy to take out enemies now. We have a good combination of a triangle and an R2. Here you'll find your first teleport, so we'll head back to Arvantville. As you'll see, pretty nice having a teleport. Then from here, once you make it back to Arvantville, you can now do a couple of side quests along the way. So if you actually come out back, like you're gonna head to the Galleon Minerva, once it loads of course, you'll find this guy right here. It'll basically allow you to grow any of the seeds that you find. Do note that there's only 3 of them that you can get. Not that great, but you can always head back to the Galleon Minerva to get those seeds again, or you can just straight up buy them. Here you'll be able to get quests for killing certain monsters that will give you rewards. You will have to do pretty much all of the quests in the game eventually to get the Platinum Trophy, so do keep that in mind.
What are we transmuting
Here,
this time?
as you'll see, you can now enhance your shards depending on what it is that you have. As you can see, SP rounds, not too bad for an upgrade, of course. As you'll see, you only need to use 3 of them.
I'll go with this.
And then eventually you'll need to start using Dreadful Rags, which you can farm from the Barbados.
I'll go with this.
As you can see, now you basically just want to do that until you can't upgrade it anymore. I think the next upgrade is the Sinister Rag. So yeah, like I said, if you don't like the shards that I'm using, you can always swap out and use whatever one you want as well. Like I said, it's just entirely up to you. You can also craft food anything new that she might have obtained from the blueprints that you get.
Johanna.
It's
But like I said, so here I'll show off what it looks like now. As you'll see, you fire 4, and you want to be pretty close to the enemy when you are letting it go. But now we can actually come over here to the shop, and we'll have another side quest to do. Here you'll see this nice old lady right here. She's going to be the third way of doing quests. She wants you to bring her certain snacks. Pretty easy. As you'll see, you can see what they are depending on it when you come and are just hovering near her. You don't have to talk to her directly, of course. But now we're going to go and take on the second boss of the game. Now this is probably the toughest boss, depending on things for some people early on. So we'll take the teleporter back and make a save right before the boss. Now, like I said, if you get stuck on any of the bosses, you don't immediately have to do them. You can always go back and farm enemies, farm items, do whatever makes you more comfortable and feel like you are standing a chance against the enemies and bosses. If an area is too tough, maybe wait, go back, explore other areas, or farm for enemies and things like that to get your level up. Alright, so now we are going to head on and take on the second boss of the game. Now this boss can be difficult for some people based on the attack patterns and the damage output the boss does, so do be careful of that. Here you'll have Zangetsu, the second boss of the game. Basically trying to go for 2 or 3 attacks, and baiting him into attacking is going to be key here. As you can see, it's just going to be a game on who makes the move first. Trying to get behind him is also key here. At about 50 HP, he will buff his sword. When he's guarding like that, you can jump behind him, as you'll see. Now his sword will do fire damage on top of it, and he will deal way more damage. It's basically just being aware of his attack patterns. When he does the chain attack, you can bait it in. As you'll see, you can then run in one direction and then run to the opposite direction behind him when he does it. Afterwards, you will get your next trophy, and he'll have the second boss of the game defeated. Now, I highly recommend backtracking and saving, that way you don't have to redo this by dying to the next area of enemies. But anyways, that is going to do it for the first video of this Platinum Trophy guide. Like I said, hopefully this one will be a lot more easier for you guys to understand and will be more friendlier to follow, as certain areas, like I said, do ramp up their damage and difficulty, and it will be based on your skills and how you can play through the game and adapt to those changes as well. But hopefully I can do my best to guide you guys. Like always, I do hope my Platinum Trophy guides are helpful and informative in any way, shape, or form. As always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I'll see you all in the next one.